seeing as though he don't have a job at CNN no more, and that's like a past tense thing for him. It shows that you're not going to get the right credibility, or you're not going to get the people pissed off where they're going to care about what you're going through. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, maybe they are wrong for how they treating you and everything of that nature, but you're a black person, and the rules are going to be skewed for you, and how things play out is going to be different. They're not going to do the same thing. That you're not going to have the same rights, and maybe you should bring more issue towards that. Instead, excuse me. Instead of just talking about what's going on in Minnesota, what affected two white people, or basically people that's not black. And they, the ICE shot some people down there, so a lot of people protesting and mad and everything like that. So people like Don Lemon going down there to see if they get their name in the headlines, and somebody will watch what they got going on, and obviously they want a job. He wants to get hired by another one of these channels or these news outlets, and then they'll be like, okay, well, we give you a job to continue what you're doing. You go out here to these little places, and you show up and interview the people, and go through that. And that's not going to work because, a lot of them are just kind of like happy to be working in environments where black people are not there. And for him to be a person that's in that industry, but you won't bring that up. You won't talk about that. You won't make that be what you concern yourself with when you're coming in town to do your news. It's just kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? So we as citizens, we know what's going on in Minnesota, but it's nothing you can really do about it because they set this up ahead of time. They set this up before you even was a thought. You know what I'm saying? So you coming down there talking about immigration, talking about those things, it's not going to be beneficial to you, or it won't be beneficial to the black race, because we still dealing with how we be treated by the police, and whatever name they give the people in authority. We have been the ones who've been dealt with in a bad way. So for a person to just be focused on doing, you could say just news or whatever, you're not even talking about the stuff that's important, like the black people in that state, in Minnesota, and what's going on with them. And I'm not talking about Somalians, I'm talking about black people. You know what I'm saying? So where is the conversation about that? Where is the news at on that? And I guess that's not big enough for for him to put it out, and then one of those outlets grab it and then start talking about it as well. They're already talking about it because it's affecting them. They get a chance to see what it's like to be living as black people in some of these states, and this is what it's been like. But they don't want to bring that correlation or nothing about that. So if we're fans of you, then we just got to be fans of you, because you're not going to talk about the stuff that we look at of importance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a fan of Don Lemon, and I wish he would kind of go away. Because just because you don't work for them no more, don't mean that you're not rich enough to just go live your life. You know what I'm saying? You got the alternative lifestyle. Just go live your life, but you don't feel important. I guess he doesn't feel like he's making an impact unless he's working for one of those corporations, those white corporations, or they taking his messages and stories and putting them on their platforms. Or he possibly could be looking for a job. Maybe he get hired by one of those other platforms that'll promote his stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, they got their agenda, and You know, we got our agenda as black people, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You know, I'm not gonna be interested in those shows that he's doing, and everybody that comes to YouTube when they get fired from those big corporations, and now all of a sudden your message is through the YouTube sphere. So, you know, we now he got to go to court for this stuff, and we'll see how that play out. You know, maybe he won't go to jail. Maybe they will throw it out. You know, or just let it be something to scare him a little bit. Let him know we're watching you. We see you. You know, if you're not gonna be talking on behalf of us, then you talking against us. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that all play out. So you guys let me know what y'all think about Don Lemon being a YouTuber now. And do you think he's going to go to jail for being arrested in Minnesota? And what you thinking about when it comes to Don Lemon? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll holler at y'all in the next video. Peace. Record. All right. So welcome back to the channel, y'all. I just want to holler at y'all real quick about Don Lemon and everything that's going on with him. He's been arrested in Minnesota at a church. This church is a church that supports immigration and been working with the immigration people. So I had a stroke, so I'm recovering from the stroke. So a lot of people have been trying to see about going down there and trying to make a name for themselves. You know, even Don Lemon, he used to work for CNN, so they fired him a couple of months back, and so now he's been on his own, doing his own thing. And he was arrested at a church that supports immigration, and a lot of people was in there protesting him as well. So they arrested him, the Department of Justice, and they trying to get him for inciting a riot or whatever his case exactly is. But you know, they and guys like him, they refuse to talk about black issues and what's going on with the black community and things of that nature. And so he just felt like talking about white people issues and what's going on with them is more important. And this where I can't be a fan of his, you know, because it's like you consider yourself a black person, but the only thing that's important to you is white issues, and that's not going to be something I can actually support. You know, at the end of the day, what's going on with immigration, what's going on with ICE, this is a governmental thing, and they already got their orders. They already know how they gonna move it. I had a stroke, so I'm basically recovering from a stroke. They already know which way they're gonna move with that, and they not gonna let you come and make everything up uncomfortable for them, and you know bring all the issues to light and use your CNN credential to talk down on them or talk against them. So being arrested is what they're gonna do to anybody. You know what I'm saying? So now he did a press conference saying that no matter what, he's gonna fight it. He's gonna make sure that he put his best foot forward, and he can't wait to his day in court and all that stuff like that. You know, but it's black issues that's happening right down there at this point, and he don't want to speak on them. He don't want to bring them to light. It's black people who've been affected by immigration and things of that nature, and he doesn't want to speak on those things and speak on that. And he did a press conference where he said he's going to fight it. He can't wait for his day in court and everything like that. And he's got free speech because he's a journalist. And you know they're basically trying to silence him and everything like that. Well, I mean, if he still had the job at CNN, then it would be something that he could, you know,